Hello and welcome back to episode 25 of the Knock It Long podcast. We are live on YouTube and live on Spotify, so please like, follow and subscribe. We are 25% away to 100 episodes, which we'll probably hit in the 2030 World Cup. But anyway, I'm back and joined by two guests. One who is based in the southeast of England, so I won't reveal his location, and one who is somewhere in America. Mr. Taylor, how are you? Welcome back. Our editor-in-chief. Arsenal falling apart as normal at this time of year. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine, Tom. Thank you very much. Moving on.
And a big milestone for you this week as well, Mr. Taylor. You hit a graceful age of getting a little bit older, moving towards next stages of life. Would you like to reveal that to the viewers?
Yeah, I can if they need to hear. I'm 30 years old on Tuesday, so that's something positive for the world.
We hope you're all in the.
However many years younger than Mo Salah, 3 years younger than Mo Salah.
That's true. That's true.
There we go. Hitting your peak with the Knock It Long podcast. Will you be signing a new deal in the summer? We wait to see. And Dr. Pemberton, man in the west of America, the ladies' man. Dr. Pemberton, how are you?
Is that the Statue of Liberty? Yeah, I guess I'm committed to the Statue of Liberty here, so I'll take that. I'm very well, so how are you doing?
Very good. Yes, Spurs have moved from a relegation scrap to mid-table recently. Very exciting indeed. We're going to have 4 segments to this podcast today. We're going to start off by looking at the top of the Premier League. We're going to do a little bit of a deep dive into Manchester United it only feels fair that they get some difficulty in this podcast, considering we're going to interrogate Arsenal. And we're going to look at the relegation battle at the bottom. Why is it that the 3 teams coming up each season seem to be going down, as it looks like it may be the same as last season? And then we're going to have a look at the Champions League and Europa League draws for the teams as we commence into the last 16 in March, which we are not too far away. And I may also have a brief segment on my own personal vanity project of completing a High Rocks next week in Karlsruhe in Germany. So anyway, that's enough.
Nice.
That's enough about that. Let's get to the Premier League title race. Mr. Taylor, is it done? Can you finally admit it's wrapped up? Liverpool are 11 points clear of you. The title race is finished. Do you now agree that even Mikel Moreno cannot win you the title as a defensive
I'm on this podcast to comment only on Champions League news and information. So on Premier League, I don't feel I can comment, as I've made clear to you before we started this podcast. Thank you.
Well, I think, look, viewers, obviously, football fans, we go through, difficulty and challenges every year. What is it that, Arsenal lost 1-0 yesterday? What happened in the game against West Ham?
I'm on this podcast to talk only about Champions League football. And I will move on.
Did you say back in July then that Arsenal would win the quadruple?
I believed we had, based on the previous years, that we had the ability to go one step further in all competitions. Yes, I thought we could win the quadruple. Yes, but obviously, Lady Luck, in terms of hamstrings, wasn't on our side this season. So we've got four forwards out, and it's just impossible. So that's as much as I can comment on, really, that for Arsenal's situation.
Well, if you're not going to do it, I'll speak to the Spurs fan then about Arsenal. Dr. Pemberton, this must be giving you some pleasure. Arsenal have crumbled as per normal by this time of year, as we've seen for the last 15 years, really. All of the fans, their New Year's resolutions talking about going to, the Champions League final, even though they've only been once and they lost 2-1 thanks to Giuliano Belletti's winner. Dr. Pemberton, what is your view on Arsenal's collapse, really?
It's amazing. I mean, thinking a few years ago when Spurs were under Poch, we went a few seasons competing for the title, never quite getting there. We got a lot of stick from Arsenal fans, and how things come around. And I think
this is the best period in your history.
It's arguably this is the best period for our history now.
No, that Pochettino era.
Well, we won the double, so we were the first team to win the double. in 1960,
Well, black and white.
1961.
There's probably no television evidence that happened.
So, I mean, I would say that was one of the biggest. I thought that's the biggest accomplishment. Probably bigger than
That's
any
what-
accomplishment Arsenal have done. But anyway,
Only the age when you all that when you last won the double or the Premier League.
Who? What did you say?
My grandparents were nearly our age when Tottenham last won.
Yeah.
Premier League
I mean, it was a great
title.
decade, and they would have been watching them lift the
Yeah,
trophy.
this is exactly how I wanted this podcast to go. Fantastic.
But getting back to the 21st century,
Yeah.
you know, the not long too distant future past. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
well.
Arsenal, I would say, thrown away. When you look back at Spurs, at least, you know, we were under budget at that point under Pochettino. We weren't spending any money. Arteta has spent a lot of money over the years. Declan Rice, more than 100 million. Many other players. And you've come up short how many seasons in a row? You're competing. You put your hands in the air when you're winning and talk to the crowd. Have have quarter time team talks. Have 14 talks in 10 minutes at some points. And now
Margins.
it seems like I don't know what it is. That still the mentality is not there.
But you
Arsenal
say
fan,
okay. Go on.
Arsenal fans just spend a lot of time doing this to the crowd when you're 2-0 up against West Ham. You lost 1-0.
Yeah, but hang on. You failed to mention anything about the injuries. I mean, I have things to say about Arsenal as well. I will get to it, but you failed to mention any of these injuries. So I don't think I've ever seen an injury crisis like this in my life. Yeah.
Cheers. I mean, you're playing an attacking midfielder up front anyway.
No, he's played striker. He played in a similar position for Leverkusen. He plays it for Germany. So it's not like
he's not a striker. People were saying he was not a striker whilst he was playing a striker.
I do.
Start of January, and you weren't buying a striker then.
I do agree. There's some very odd recruitment that's gone on for the last 3 years. But I think as a coach, I think Arteta's as good as any coach in the league, if not the best. But it's the recruitment side that we've been let down. What do you say?
Graham Potter is a better coach than Arteta. Being blunt, Arteta's not won a trophy.
He has won a trophy. He won the FA Cup.
Oh, what? Crimea River 5 years ago in the
as he rightly said in a press conference, and 2 Community Shields. So
okay, well, Mourinho won the treble then in 2017. Community Shield, League Cup, and Europa League.
Okay.
3 throw.
Yeah, but look, I think the definite criticism of Arteta is the last 2 transfer windows, which have been appalling. And actually Arteta's strange lack of buying forwards since he's been at Arsenal. He's had the opportunity to buy forwards. The only player he's bought is Trossard. So it's an odd thing. Also,
aside from the transfer windows, I do think you've regressed in your playing style this season as well. Even when you were full strength, we spoke about it. We can go back to the previous podcasts. I was saying you don't play good attacking football. I think you way too cautious in your approach. Spurs have scored more goals than you.
Tottenham Hotspur.
And that's clearly.
Again,
an injury crisis that is tenfold.
But we scored the most goals in last season. I think the only difference, the only major factor is the injuries. I don't think we've been able to string a game of 5.
I would say you were playing worse football at the start in September and October as well.
I think we are playing worse football. There's no doubt. But I don't put it down to coaching. I think it's more down to I don't know.
It's just more conservative than it has been in previous years.
Is it down to the fact you want to be a rugby player, or what is it?
Well, we haven't scored a corner in about 20 games, so I think the rugby allegations are out the window now.
The Six Nations are on at the moment. England v Scotland was very entertaining yesterday. Maybe Arteta's decided that Spain needs to build a rugby team. So, perhaps Arsenal, are a new rugby team, and London Arsenal or Woolwich FC as a rugby team.
No.
You've got a great set piece coach there. So.
Well, he hasn't got us to convert a corner, as I said, in 20 games. So Nicholas Hover, it's not up to the standard. But I do agree. I think the worrying sign is on Arsenal is the standards seem to be slipping. And I think back to January, and you think what City did in January. They had the massive injury issues, and they go and spend. They go and find the solutions in the market then and there. I don't understand why Arsenal haven't, and I find it worrying that you say that Arsenal. I think the sort of the line from the club is that we're going to be purchasing a striker in the summer. But I think why would you? I do worry about that. I feel like there's a standards issue there where I don't want to wait till the summer. We were second in the Premier League. We've got most all to play for in January. I don't understand why we haven't signed anyone. Why we didn't sign anyone in January.
The other thing as well is if you say to clubs in the summer you're going to come and buy a striker, it's like United when they bought Højlund.
You do it. City did it. Marmoush, they bought him.
Well, the point is that clubs then go, okay, we're going to whack 15 million extra on for any player that you want.
But I think
because they know they know you're desperate.
So do you wait until the summer then? I don't think that's a good.
Well, no, I don't think you state it. Is the point? You don't come out publicly and state you're going to buy a striker in the summer and keep it in hand.
We could have paid 60 million and got Watkins in the January transfer window. I think there's something.
I think they would have sold Watkins for 60 million, would they?
Yeah, well, we bid 40, and then the line from I think Ornstein reported that 60 million would have got it. We would have got him. So again, I think there are issues. Edu, obviously, our director of football, has left the club. And I think there's, actually middle of the season. It's weird for a director of football to leave the club mid-season. So I do think that he's in charge of recruitment. He was in charge of recruitment for the last couple of transfer windows. And I think that Arteta had the last say on some transfer on decisions. And there must have been some sort of riff or something between them because I can't see why Edu left. I thought January transfer window was appalling. Think about this: Sterling on loan, Calafiori in a left back position. He hasn't started. It's the first time he started the game in months because Lewis Skelly is so good. I guess you couldn't have predicted Lewis Skelly to be that good. Marino, Calafiori, Sterling. Why? I just can't understand that.
And also 30 million on David Raya as well.
That was it. I think David Raya's been a good sign. That's been an upgrade for sure. I think he's the best keeper in the league, Raya.
Well, that's fine. You can carry on believing it's Christmas 365 days a year.
What do you mean? He's like Alisson and Edison are really dodgy. Really dodgy.
So anyway, you lost yesterday, and that can we just confirm as well? You've got
first time in 15 games.
Lewis Skelly's was a red card.
Yesterday was a red card. It was a red card. But the one at Wolves.
Well, thank you for your.
Yeah. Okay.
And then Martin Odegaard, what's happened to him this year? 3 goals this year.
Yeah, that's really poor. I am as I said to you, I'm on record as saying that I would like to see him replaced. I want to see an Özil.
No, really.
Yeah, I want to see him move on now because he's just. I think his stats say the thing, and I don't think he's impactful enough. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the clip of him yesterday. Trossard's through, 80 minutes. Odegaard is running through the middle. All Trossard needs to do is play the ball to him. Odegaard just needs to continue his run, and he literally pulls back behind, literally trying to hide. It's hiding. It's hiding, and it's awful. It's awful.
Do you think it's lack of confidence at the moment?
I think it is lack of confidence. Yes, yeah. He's been since that Man United game.
I think he's honestly being objective. I think he's one of your best players.
Yeah, he is. He's a great player on the ball, but I just think we can do better. I think we can do better in that position. We've had Özil, Fabregas. This is the standard for Arsenal. I know you're used to Maddison.
I did watch Arsenal at the start of the season a lot, and I thought he was pretty impressive.
Yeah, but he's been here 3-4 years now, and it's such an important position for Arsenal. That number 10. I want to see.
But you missed when he was away. You did miss him.
We did miss him. I think we just missed his sort of leadership, pressing ability. But we still picked up points. We beat you. We beat you guys. He was away. Gabriel 1-0.
FC, yeah. Sorry.
No. So I want. That's. I want to see. Yeah, unless he picks up in the Champions League or something, steps up big time. Yeah, I think he's not at the standard.
Yeah. Well, that's a big call to say he's already a captain. That's a very big call.
Yeah, that is a big call. Also, he's quite a young captain.
Yeah, but I mean, he was.
26.
Look, I think the other thing that he was chucked out of Real Madrid.
He was very young then. What was he, like 20?
Yeah, 20. But I mean, he wasn't good. He wasn't considered good enough for Madrid. You got Dani Ceballos, who we had, who starts every week for Real Madrid now. I don't know. Dani Ceballos starts every game for Madrid. Yeah,
God, that's so weird. That reminds me of Gnabry. I always thought Gnabry was pretty average at Arsenal. Then he goes to Bayern Munich and he's like unbelievable.
Yeah.
The concern for Arsenal, we'll move this on to Liverpool now, is that Liverpool will have a lot of money to spend in the summer because they've spent nothing in the last 2 windows.
No, they bought some players, haven't they?
They bought 10 million on Chiesa. They've got the new goalkeeper,
Chiesa
coming in. That's 30 million. I mean, they're in a very strong position with PSR. I guess part of the question will be, how many of those players are they replacing? Is it Trent? Because I think if you're replacing Trent, Salah and Van Dijk, that's almost a 250 million outlay to replace those 3 players.
But
so pivot.
Trent's the most likely to leave out of those 3, isn't he?
Salah, I think, is further out. I think Salah will probably go. I think Van Dijk will probably stay.
You think Salah will go?
Yeah,
He's literally been the player of the season this year.
I don't know where he goes. I mean, that's the thing. Where does he go?
Liverpool are very tight on wage spend, and he's 33.
He's got another 3 seasons.
So, I think his body's he's like Ronaldo, isn't he?
And people like KDB, everyone says, of another 2 years, and then we've seen. I think part of going on to City, we move this on to City and Liverpool now. City, a number of their players have gone over 30 and they've declined significantly. Yeah. And obviously, we didn't realize. I mean, Rodri's an unbelievable player, but he was the glue to that team. But a lot of their players, KDB is 33, Bernardo Silva's 30 or 31. Gundogan has been really bad.
Not good enough.
It's just and this is when they play teams like Real Madrid or Liverpool. Any team really with legs in their midfield looks like they can go to the Etihad or when City can just blow them away really, because they don't have they bought this new kid Nico Gonzalez who is significantly overvalued compared to what he's valued at on transfer market. He was valued at 20 million. They paid 50 million to get him out. They bought these 2 centre backs, Kusanov, the Uzbeki centre back.
Yeah, he looks very shaky, doesn't he?
He's been playing at Lyon in France. I mean, he's a 20-year-old kid who also doesn't speak English or French. He speaks Russian.
Well, Miles Skelly's 18. I mean, he's probably going to be in the England squad when Tuchel announces it at the end of next week or whenever it is.
One other actually on the left back thought, who I don't think has got to mention, is Keane Lewis Potter at Brentford. He looks really. He's a winger who's ended up being a left back for Brentford this year, but he looks really good. From the games I've seen at Brentford, have won 4 away in the league recently. But Liverpool, I think, have wrapped the league up today, which will equal them to Manchester United's record of winning 20 Premier League titles.
It's such a shame because they look so wobbly under pressure against Wolves, then dropping points against Everton, dropping points against Villa. If we had just beaten West Ham, I really think I think Arne Slot actually showed a couple times that he cracks a bit. I think his behaviours in those last couple of games was a bit weird and erratic, and I just think that
like Everton away,
yeah. And then in press conferences, he looked really quite rattled. He looked rattled.
This league is brutal, though.
Yeah,
this Premier League is brutal.
But they didn't look good enough.
You see that most of Amorim, don't you? Like how this I think it surprised him.
I mean, he did.
He was swaggering around, the guy. I mean, honestly, he was so smug. He was unbelievably smug, that guy.
Well, he did turn up to the Emirates and beat you with 10 men v 12, a month ago. So.
in the Audi Cup, in the Premier League, you lost 2-0 to Saliba screamer. We'll see. See you in 3 weeks. See you in 3 weeks with Mourinho up front. Marino up
We'll
front.
We'll see you in 2 weeks at Old Trafford, and we're
Yeah,
going to
exactly.
record a podcast after it. And Man United in their relegation scrap will beat you.
17-year-old Ranieri, a centre defensive midfielder as a striker, and a retirement Sterling on the left. I mean, really, we'll win, and we'll win.
Arsenal at full strength. What are your thoughts? Let's talk a bit about. So Liverpool, I think, look like they've wrapped the title up. Arsenal battling for the top four, as we said, over the last few podcasts, and I predicted this season they would not win the title or win a trophy, and I'm going to be proved right again. As I'm the CEO, I make big decisions, and I was correct. Arsenal, won 4 FA Cups in 20 years. But Dr. Pemberton, what are your views on Man City's decline? Why has it all gone so wrong this year for Pep?
Yeah, I mean, this is probably the main question this year, I think, because they had a dynasty. Like, how many league titles have they won in the last? Is it 10 years? It feels like they've won. The numbers?
He's won
6 or 7.
6 in 9 years.
6 and 9 years. I mean, that's a dynasty.
Yeah.
But all dynasties come to an end, and I think this will be the year people say it's over. I don't know if he'll stay. I don't. It's so hard to say one thing. I think the Rodri thing obviously was massive.
Yeah.
But it is a red flag to me that they're rebuying Gundogan. They're playing Bernardo Silva still. These aging players. I don't know if that means that they just don't think these new players they've bought are good enough. It reminds me of the last days of to go back to Poch's 11. I mean, we were just playing the same squad.
Pep and Poch, wow.
Well, I think I don't know. I think maybe it's growing stale at the club because they're playing these players who've been there for too long or have gone and then come back.
Yeah.
I also do. I don't know. This is more controversial, but I think them buying Haaland, I know he scores an insane number of goals, but they did change the way they play. I think as a result of having him, and I don't know if they just look a little less in control in general, I think, than they did.
I think the big error they made in the summer was selling Julian Alvarez.
Yeah, I think Alvarez is a very good player.
Alvarez was actually his second strike and was very, very effective for them. I thought it was a real... He had very good stats for them, and I know they got a great fee from Atletico. It looked very good business at the time. But it'll be very... I mean, look, the two major factors on City are what's the court ruling in a month's time in March? What is the basis of that? What's then the appeal process that's going to happen after that? And then what do Man City spend in the summer? I think Man City probably need to go and spend 400 million on that squad. I think they probably need a new goalkeeper. I think Ederson looks very shaky this year.
Yeah.
They need a new right. They probably need 2 new fullbacks. Guardiola, well, maybe at least one at right back. They're stacked at centre back. They bought a replacement, obviously, for Rodri. They probably need 2 centre midfielders. They probably need another winger. So, you're talking there. I mean, I don't know what that is. My maths isn't quick enough, but it would be,
another winger.
5.
Yeah.
Well, look,
Savinho. I thought Savinho looks very good. I will say that.
Savinho, Grealish, Doku. Grealish is probably likely to go.
Yeah.
Doku's very hit or miss. He looks incredibly exciting when he charges.
I mean, how many times he went around at Trent today? It was quite amazing. But yeah, I agree. He is hit or miss.
Do you think?
So I think he's got 2 years on his deal. Still, he's got a contract until 2027.
If he was to go this season, what would he do then? I mean, I think he'd just take a year out or something. Go to the.
I don't think Pep is not. Pep is not going to. Well, there wouldn't be a World Cup job until next summer when the World Cup's done. I think Pep will be here next year because I don't think he's going to want to leave City without being a winner in some capacity.
Yeah.
Whether that's a Champions League or a league title, that's just the way he will want to go out on top because of his Premier League legacy. It's the same with Ferguson in 2013. He wanted to wanted to get out at the top.
So I didn't read the full article, but there was an article on the BBC about how basically football has evolved from Pep's football, and maybe this is a broader thing about how now it is just so focused on quick transitions. Football.
I mean, it is the same. It does happen though. You look at You look at, what happened with Mourinho. Football does evolve, and if you don't
Yeah.
change, it goes past you pretty quickly.
So is Arne Slot on the pulse then of the new game? Because it's been a year.
They've got a weird mix, Liverpool. I think.
Yeah.
I think they're quite in control, but they also do rapid transitions really well.
The manager in world football who is the person who has evolved most effectively in the last 20 years is Ancelotti, because he's gone to so many teams and wins at every club. Minus Everton, but he wins at every club.
Yeah, he's ridiculous.
And Arne Slot seems to be like this quite good coach who isn't the most vocal, isn't the most charismatic, but gets the team playing pretty effectively. And the same with Ancelotti. Gets a very, very calm guy, very good at delivery, seems to keep the players happy. You look at the 4 guys he's got up front, they're wonderful players, but big egos up there. And he always seems to, he's managed Ronaldo, managed Bale, managed, Bayern, PSG.
Yeah, it's actually amazing. It is actually amazing.
He's an incredible manager, Ancelotti.
We will play them in the quarters. We will play Real Madrid for the first time since 2006. Yes, because it's Real Madrid or Atletico. I haven't watched. Arsenal haven't played Real Madrid since 2006. So when we beat,
I remember that. I remember you went 1-0 away.
Yeah, Thierry Henry at the Bernabeu. Yeah, unbelievable player, unbelievable goal from Henry. We've never seen a player that came close to Henry.
Wow.
This is what the Arsenal season will end by about mid-April then, roughly, because you'll be knocked out by Real or you'll be knocked out by Atletico. So,
well, let's not forget about PSG.
We are very good against good teams. We haven't lost to City. We haven't lost to City in 3 seasons. We haven't lost to Liverpool. We're very good against good teams. I still think that if Mikel and the coaching staff can find a solution, then I think actually that Champions League against Real Madrid will be interesting. I genuinely believe it. Yeah, but yeah.
Well, whatever makes it's your birthday soon, so I don't want to put your dreams to bed yet.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Well, let's wrap up the first segment of this podcast, and we'll be back with part 2 to talk about Manchester United and Ineos, which I know these two are very keen to talk about.
Yes.
Hello and welcome back to part 2 of the Knock It Long podcast. We were going to talk about brand deals, but we don't have any brands supporting us. So if you're Fuse Energy or someone there and you'd like to offer your podcasting services or brands, please do. Or San Pellegrino, whoever. I'm not here for product placement, but please do offer your services. We're very open to sponsorship here at the Knock It Long podcast as we continue to grow and bring you the greatest football content in the land.
Or you could even. I think you mentioned Solero in a previous podcast, so we're also open.
Oh yeah.
Previous podcast, a bit like you and Domino's deliveries halfway through.
Yeah.
But anyway, into the next segment: Manchester United and Ineos. How exciting! This is sort of a revenge point for Mr. Taylor. Man United currently sit 15th in the league, 30 points from 26. But we're probably going to have a better season than Arsenal, perhaps, if we win a trophy. So, Dr. Pemberton, our ladies' man. What would you like to ask about Man United and Ineos? And if people are asking why I call Dr. Pemberton ladies' man, he's just started dating a new lady. That's why.
So we're gonna Tom.
Reveal publicly on this podcast that Dr. Pemberton is dating a new lovely lady who will remain anonymous for the sake of this.
More requests to senior management. This is a professional podcast, and I was led to believe that it was a professionally dealt with podcast. But
thank you very much, Dr. Pemberton. And what would you like to say about Manchester United?
I'd like to ask the CEO: is this rock bottom, or how much further will you go?
Yes.
Really is that really felt like a politically slanted. Thankfully, I'm sat in my living room and not the House of Parliament. But is it rock bottom for Manchester United? I don't know, because I never thought we'd go this low. So I don't quite know where
we did. Season 1. Look at the re-listen. We did. Predicted.
Paul Scholes said we might get relegated next year. So I mean, by his standards, no, we haven't hit rock bottom. I don't think we'll get relegated, because I think we're 13 points above, and I think with 30 points, we're probably safe. And we're playing Ipswich on Wednesday at home, which if we can't win that,
Jesus, that is crazy. Get the
That
watch,
really is concerning.
watch along.
Look, the club is in no doubt the worst position I've been in the near quarter century that I've supported the club. Financially crippled due to Glazer's huge mismanagement.
Not only the new management's just awful as well.
Well, I don't.
You paid
think
40
Ineos
million.
are-
You paid 40 million pounds to release Ruben Amorim from his contract at Sporting.
Well, we didn't pay 40 million. We paid 10 million pounds over 3 years.
And when you sack him, you have to pay him 20 million pounds in advance of his contract.
Mr. Taylor, with the greatest respect, let me go through the lines of the latest budget that came out, and we can go into this. We did pay 14 million pounds to sack Ten Hag and his staff. We did pay 4 million pounds to release hire Dan Ashworth and sack Dan Ashworth within a 5-month period. So yes, it doesn't look great from a PR line. We've sacked 250 staff, which saved about 8 or 9 million pounds a year, and Luke Shaw hasn't started a game. Yeah. Paid that salary every year. The PR line is not great at the moment. The small shoots of hope are there's some very good young prospects in that United team. You know, you've got Garnacho, Meno, Chido coming through.
I want to kind of challenge this narrative because I always hear this, but are they actually all that? I mean, Menu had a good season last season. I think everyone was excited by him.
He's a flop.
He's not been that good this year, has he?
No, he's flopped.
Been injured season, but Garnacho has had more.
Some of the moments. Garnacho had a very good chance against Tottenham, and he
did, but he's also had 15 goal involved
at that point.
Nearly double that of Arsenal's key man Martin Odegaard.
Exactly, but he's been out half the season for double.
But I look, there are problems in that squad. There probably needs to be a number of players moved on. This back three system has had its challenges. He doesn't have the right players for it at the moment. Patrick Dorgu, who's been signed from Lecce in January, has actually looked like quite a decent signing for the price. He's been pretty good in R3 in the last couple of games that have been played. He was good at Spurs and he was good against Everton yesterday. They're going to buy a right wing back supposedly from Sporting in the summer, who's about 35 million. Again, he's 17 or 18, so incredibly young. But
you just bought Mazraoui.
No, Mazraoui isn't a centre back or a right back, though. He's not a wing back. There's definitely problems there. There's also big capital expenditure. They've spent 50 million renovating Carrington, which is due to complete this summer. The new stadium is going to cost a shed load of money. It's not great at the moment, and Ineos is probably about to sack another 100 people, which is going to become public in the next week.
He thinks he's Elon Musk. I mean, these guys, they're like the same. Jim Rat and Elon Musk, they've come from the same. I think they come from the same political.
Come from the same cloth.
Yeah, exactly.
The problem with Man United is they've become over bloated as a workforce. But again, that doesn't take away from the fact that these are people's lives and people that are not necessarily making. I gave you the stat right. Luke Shaw makes 160 grand a week. He hasn't started a game for Man United in over a year now. And,
has he been injured? Where has he been? I've kind of completely forgotten about Luke Shaw.
He's been injured most of the time. But again, I don't think he takes the greatest care of himself either. And he's nearly 30 this summer as well. So again, the one thing that I do have a bit of hope is we have nearly removed all of our high. Once Casemiro goes, we've removed our high wage.
And he's not going anytime soon.
He might stay another year. His contract's up in
officially his word is he's very happy in Manchester. He's very happy.
I know, yes.
He's very comfortable and happy.
To be honest, I mean, I've never gone away to Everton yesterday and drawn 2-2 and thought, what a great result. But actually, it kind of felt like that yesterday, particularly after the first half, which is... Yeah. The problem that Amorim has is he's in a kind of rock and a hard place because he came in, he's very wedded to this back three system, will not change. The United team are always used to playing a back four, but it would be a sign of weakness now if he changed. But again, he doesn't have the players who can play a back three system, which is why we've taken 15 points from 45 under him. Where he's been successful is in the Cups. We've won our 6 games in the Cups since he's been in charge. We've won our 2 FA Cup games. against Arsenal and Leicester. We've won 4 in the Europa League, where we've been more where the club have been more effective. And actually, I think we could go and win the Europa League or the FA Cup, just because I think the system suits those tournaments better. Whereas in the league, as I said earlier, as we said earlier in this podcast, it is a ruthless league, the Premier League, and someone like Thomas Frank at Brentford, I'm not saying this is not about replacing managers. He's always talked about the reason he's been successful in the Premier League is had his ability to change and adapt to every season that Brentford have been there. So they used to have Ivan Toney. They've then moved to this sort of more fluid front three with Shardo, Vissa, and Mbuemo. It's about that adaptability. I think Amorim is a good coach. He was clearly one of the most sought after coaches. Do I think he'll make the end of the season if things continue like this? I don't know, because I think Jim Ratcliffe is unpredictable. The form is so bad.
But what do you, as a fan, then? What is your ultimatum for him to stay? I mean, are you saying whatever happens this season, he should still be in play?
I think we have to win something this year. I think we have to.
Otherwise, he goes in the summer.
You win one trophy, so you mean you win the Europa League?
Well, no, we're in the FA Cup.
Oh, you're in the FA Cup. It's true.
So I think we have to win, which Spurs were eliminated from by Villa, in case you didn't know. But
after spending the most in January.
Just not.
Dorgan.
180 million.
What?
We would hope this kind of way.
Man City spent 180 million. I mean,
thank you, CEO.
no worries.
And a loan.
United have made some. The changes made last year cost the club something like 25 to 30 million just in the structural changes.
It just makes my. But I have IBS, and this just when you talk about like the processes going on at Man United and things, I feel I have a problem, like stress-induced problems. I mean, the amount you chuck at releasing people from contracts, upgrading the chef.
You'll find at DC, I think.
Yeah.
So maybe you do need Jim Elon Ratcliffe.
The thing is, Jim thinks he's some sort of shrewd businessman. I mean, you look at interviews at him when he talks about this and that, and he thinks he's a genius. I mean, what did he do before? He just sold Hoovers or something. Didn't he make his? He made his millions. He made his millions selling Hoovers.
No, that's
is that the dice?
Hoovers.
Jim,
that's the
That's Thomas Dyson, I think.
Yeah, but they've done something. They've done something similar. He's done something similar. Well, how did Jim Ratcliffe make his millions?
He's billions. He's worth 19 billion.
He sold what? Petroleum jelly.
Petrochemicals is how he made his money.
Vaseline.
I don't know. But
okay. Petroleum jelly.
Ineos has cut back his expenditure in other things. They're cutting their sponsorship with Spurs. They've reduced it with Ben Ainsley in the side.
Sponsorship with Spurs?
Yeah.
He's on your seats at the stadium if you look at Ineos. Yeah, they have a 5-year deal.
Do they actually? Oh yeah.
The New Zealand rugby team are threatening to sue Ineos.
Right.
Because they're trying to they're cutting their contract early. They're reducing the number of their sports deals at the moment in Ineos. Yeah, look, it's crazy. Like the club has been, the Glazers are ultimately the ones that put the club in this situation because we're paying 140 million or 130 million a year in interest payments, which is a budget of transfer, and it's because we paid over $1 billion in interest payments for the Glazers. And the Glazers have taken £1 billion out of it. So like 2 billion almost from cost of the Glazers, which is a new stadium now. With it, so it is rock bottom. Well, it's not rock bottom because you never know how low you can go. But it has been a disastrous season.
There's But can I also say, I remember last time you compared it to Arteta's first 2 seasons when we finished eighth, and then we kept with.
No, I can't.
That
would be that.
There is no indication that things will get better for you because you can't spend again in the summer.
Well, they will spend in the summer again. They will spend another 200 million. We're buying players on credit cards. I think we are going to get hit at some point because I just think this is going to run into some trouble. Which is why the tournament to really focus on is the Europa League because that's Champions League revenue. And if you get to the last 16, that's 100 million quid pretty much. it's a lot of money. If you win the Champions League, it's nearly 200 million.
Yeah.
So it's a
That's what we're on.
huge, which Arsenal will not be going near that, but you'll be eliminated probably by PSV Eindhoven. But but that all kicks off in a week, so we'll see. But yes, look, it's been very bad. We did make an operating profit in the last quarter, but it was only 3.4 million. So yes, it's not great at the moment.
Well,
any other questions on Manchester United and Ineos?
So to be clear on your position on your manager, it is you have to win a trophy or you change again. Is that what you're saying?
So I haven't said change again, but I think I can't see finishing 15th and getting knocked out in the quarterfinals of the Europa League and, well, wherever we go in the FA Cup. The next 2 weeks are pivotal in our season because we have Fulham, we have Ipswich at home, Fulham in the FA Cup next week, which would get United quarterfinals, and then we play Real Sociedad away.
Yeah.
And then we play Arsenal, I think, after that. So,
yeah. Well, you're in hell. So yeah.
What, due to my personality or the football club I support?
The football club you support and your leadership skills. Considering there is a person sitting on this board, and we talk about this in the outside of the podcast. And you mentioned it earlier, who accepted a pizza mid-podcast, and he still comes back and sits there and mouths off about Arsenal.
He was.
And you backed him. He was not apologetic.
I have backed him, and I continue to back him.
And
anyway,
he's muted himself.
I support the CEO. I'm backing the CEO.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
We may be replacing you, Mr. Taylor, with a new editor. I'm not sure podcasts are supposed to have this feud, so you might want to mark where this is in the podcast.
Okay.
To edit this out. Should we move? Let's move into. We're going to close part 2 of this podcast and then move into part 3 and look at the relegation battle at the bottom.
We're not going to talk about Spurs.
Oh yeah,
compared to United.
We'll put Spurs in the relegation because it's nearly 9 o'clock and I'm
rolling.
Hello and welcome back to part 3 of the Knock It Long podcast. We're going to talk about the relegation battle, and because we didn't talk about Spurs in the last segment, we're going to talk about Spurs. Very briefly, just a couple of minutes on Spurs. Has Ange turned the corner, Dr. Pemberton?
Well, looking at results, that's 3 league wins in a row. We got a lot of players coming back. So, there are signs that corner's turned. I still think we are not playing as well as we have done under Ange, but I think things are improving. It was interesting talking about United because I do think, even though that we're both big clubs who've had atrocious seasons, I'm more optimistic about Spurs coming back than I am. I don't know how that seems to a neutral.
Yeah, what?
From your perspective.
Well, you called yourself a big club. I just zoned that.
Wow. Did you see Gary Neville? He said Spurs are a bigger club than Man City. So put us in that kind of bracket.
Okay, whatever. Yeah, but.
Did you agree? I mean, are you from an outside perspective? Do you see Spurs?
Well,
do you think they'll come back?
I mean,
would you be less concerned about their future than United's?
I'll be honest. I have clocked out from Spurs. I relax as soon as I know we'll finish above Spurs each season. I relax completely and about what's going on. But I want to ask you about. Can I ask you about James Maddison? Because he really is such an annoying person. After the United game, there was an interview with him, and he said, like, I think I've shushed, I think I've shut up a couple people after he scores a flipping tap in against the worst United team in history. So do you want him playing more? Do you think he's been what's missing?
We've had 3 captains. We have 3 captains: Son, Maddison, and Romero. I think he's been the best leader of those 3 this season. But that's been quite a low bar because I think Son has played quite poorly. And Romero has just been out.
Yeah.
But he's been a good player. He's had a weird relationship with the media. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Maybe he does spark He does aggravate certain people.
Yeah.
But come on, you've seen him play. He's got a lot of talent on the ball.
I think he's okay. I think he's like literally little Odegaard kind of thing. He's like quite good with his feet. I don't think he's actually that great. You know, Leicester went down last. I think Roy Keane said this. Leicester went down last season. I mean, if you're
Well, Roy Keane said Roy Keane said he took Leicester down and he's going to take Spurs down to relegation.
and he's absolutely right.
I wouldn't take that seriously. I mean,
He's absolutely right.
He must have annoyed Roy Keane at some point. I think he's all right. I mean, I don't know if he'll make up. You know, he's a first 11 player and puts him on the bench often. I think actually Bergvall is the long-term solution here. And he's kind of proving it as the kind of creative midfielder who I think has looked really good in the last few months. He's been one of the shining lights. Tom spoke about the youth of United, and there are good youth players in Spurs with Bergvall and Archie Gray. Also, a word on Jed Spence, talking about fullbacks earlier. I think he should honestly start for England. He's played so well in the last few months. Yeah. So anyway,
he was written off by Conte, Jed Spence.
He
He's been
was.
good for you.
Yeah.
Well, he listens to rap music, and I think he was late for training, so he was on the bad books for a few managers. Well, for Conte and for Ange as well, but also in his loan spells at Napoli, was it, and Leeds last year? Was it Leeds? Anyway, he's had a few difficulties, but he's a fantastic player. He's so
He's
strong.
also inside as well. He's playing left back, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's a right back.
Yeah, he played both yesterday when Porro came on. He switched to left, faced Doggy. Yeah.
Didn't he play in this
What are your-
YouTube? Sorry.
I was going to ask, what are your views on Kevin Danzo and Matthias Tell, who obviously
Yeah.
Kinski's
Yeah.
the bench.
Also, a word on Danso. Danso's looked very good. I never understand how these deals take place because he must have been a pretty important player for what was the French team he came from?
Lons, yeah.
Lens.
But you
I
hijacked
never really
it.
understand. We did buy him for very much.
25 million in the summer obligation.
Yeah.
He was due to go to Wolves, wasn't he? And then you jumped him, like tripled the.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think you hijacked it last minute.
Maybe, yeah. He's looked very solid though. You know, I think he was raised in Milton Keynes, so I think he speaks English and he's physical. He's integrated very quickly.
I remember watching him at the Euros last year with Austria, and he looked good. He was like this ball-playing centre-back because they had Ranić and they play very
Yeah.
very
He's good
attacking.
on the ball.
He's
Honestly, you know, people were talking about Dragusin as our young centre-back coming through, but he's impressed me much more than Dragusin had. He looks way more confident.
Dragusin came with a lot of hype. but
Yeah,
hasn't
a
really
lot
lived
of
up to
hype.
it.
Yeah, I don't think
Flop.
Dragusin. He wasn't good enough on the ball. I think in short, and struggled to adapt to our system. And he's not the fastest.
And what about
Tell as
Matthias?
well. Tell looks okay. He's still very young, but
Yeah.
from what I see, we might well buy him in the summer. I think we have an option to buy.
Yeah.
25 million.
It's looking more likely. I think I would buy him for 45 million. I mean, just because.
But so you've spent. Then you would have spent what? You've spent £100 million on strikers in the last 2 seasons.
Well, okay, well, yes, we've got Solanke. Well, we
In
sold
5
a striker. We've sold one certain striker for a lot of money. England captain,
who might be
So I
coming
think
to
we have
Arsenal in the summer.
There's more chance.
There is some.
I mean, there's more chance of Arsenal winning the double than that happening. At this point.
it's not
Our
no chance.
of scoring from this technical area. But, that man. After what happened to the last player that went from Spurs to Arsenal, and seeing
Who was that?
What, William Gall?
Oh, Adebayor.
no, we still do charges about him, and we still haven't forgiven him.
Spurs to Arsenal. Oh, the legend, of course, Sol Campbell.
The
Invincible. What a good decision that was.
I mean, it's still an unbelievable decision, and I wasn't even following Spurs at the time.
Yeah.
But
I'll never forget
He
his
is
interview. His interview, like the day before he moved to Arsenal, when they asked him if he's staying or leaving, and he said that he's staying. He said, "I'm staying."
Well, yeah. I don't think that
Double.
has ever been forgiven, and I don't think Kane is going to follow his footsteps there. Kane is going to be very happy with the Bundesliga title this year.
He's finally winning something.
Yeah,
Hey,
congratulations.
finally winning it.
It will be his first trophy, won't it? They didn't win it. Yeah.
They don't look good, Bayern, though. Oh, this is off topic, but they don't really look very good under Company, so let's see.
Well, they only just beat Celtic, didn't they?
Yes, last
Yeah.
minute.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was quite gutted for Celtic in that game.
Yeah.
They were unlucky.
Yeah, they were
Because,
very unlucky. They were, yeah. Yeah.
Let's move into the Premier League relegation battle, and then we'll move in the final segment. Move into some European football.
So the bottom
What
six.
are your? Well, I think the reality of the situation is Wolves look like they're probably going to stay up at the moment because they've opened up a bit of a buffer, and they've got Matthias Cunha as well, who's generally a really good player.
Yeah.
Who I think Arsenal should be able to play that Arsenal or top six
Yeah,
side should be looking at.
I agree.
Summer.
Could have bought him for 50 million in January, but he signed a new contract in January.
He's got a £62 million release clause
Right,
in the
yeah.
summer.
Mm-hmm.
And he's only 25 as well. I thought he was a bit older, but he's only 25.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
So do you guys think there's a problem that the teams that keep coming up keep going down? Is there something structurally wrong with?
Last season, Luton, Burnley, and who else went down last year? Luton, Burnley.
Luton, Burnley, Sheffield United. Was it the season?
Yes, those three that came up and they went down. They were not that competitive. Luton got a little bit closer to staying up, and this year, look, I mean, Ipswich are the one I'm a little bit surprised by because I thought they've got some quite good players there. Liam Delap's a good player. They've got Amari Hutchinson. They've got a good manager as well in McKenna. Leicester, I'm surprised as well how badly it's gone under Van Nistelrooy, considering how he did at United in his sort of 4-game spell. But Leicester, I watched Leicester v Brentford on Friday night or the second half. They just bang average as a team. They're just really poor to watch. Like you got play like Wilfred Ndidi. I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago was linked with like a 60 or 70 million pound move to a big side, and they looked really bad against. I mean, Brentford are a good side, but and then Southampton. I mean, their coach Ivan Jurkic, the Croat, has been pretty savage about what he said. He said, they couldn't play the initial way because they were bad, and now they try and play we try and play this other way, but they can't because we're bad.
But that might be one of the reasons why clubs are going up and down, because it was the same with Burnley, didn't they? They played a certain way in the Championship, lots of passing, lots of short goal kicks, encourage pressure, and then they try and bring it to the Premier League. Burnley goes straight down. Southampton the same.
Burnley have broken records in the Championship for their defence because they've conceded 9 goals in 31 games.
This season, is that?
Yeah, they might come back up, mightn't they?
Well, then
third.
That would be interesting if that system survives better. It should, I think you do need some Neil Warnock or maybe.
I remember who successfully did it was Swansea. Do you remember when Swansea came up and they played? Who was it in the middle? Allen. Joe Allen.
Joe Allen. Yeah.
They were great. Michu and stuff.
Michu.
God, Michu. I have nightmares about Michu still scoring against Arsenal. Oh, that was a great team.
I mean, they kind of successfully played good football in their first league. And the other only team I can remember is Blackpool.
Oh, Taylor Fletcher. Yeah. Oh, and DJ Fletcher. Yeah.
Minus the 16 to number, I think Wolves are a team that have survived the last couple of years. But West Ham up to, 16 to 1 are all capable teams. And play, anyone can beat anyone, really, in this league. And it's so competitive. And, I don't know whether I don't know what it is, but it's become really apparent in the last 2 years what's causing these teams. Because, again, I don't know what the statistics are, but back-to-back relegations for all the teams that come up. I'd like Leicester to stay up because I like Van Nistelrooy, but I don't think they're relying on a 38-year-old Jamie Vardy.
What can with Van Nistelrooy, you're a careers chap. You've been to various jobs. You've had various jobs, correct?
The networking.
You're networking. Why would
you want to advertise your own former company? This would be a good sponsor. Networking Associates. Aberdeenshire.
But as a careers chap, as a networker, as a entrepreneur. Why would...
I run a podcast. I guess it does
Yeah.
make me some form of small scale entrepreneur. Yes.
We played PSV 2 years ago and lost to Van Nistelrooy's PSV. Why? What do you think of his his career moves? What is
But
this?
he went to be. He was United's assistant coach, right? And
Yeah.
he was loved by the fans going back because it was a legend going back.
But it just still seems
I think-
odd. He was
Many
successful at PSV. He was successful.
Yeah, he was. He won 2 trophies there. I
He's
don't
at
know. I
Leicester
think
now, and they're going to get relegated. I mean, it seems crazy.
A lot of what happened at Leicester is supposedly he was promised quite substantial backing in January, and it hasn't happened. So they got one player for £2 million, like a right back, like on loan,
Okay,
and that was all they was promised. So
I see.
and he hasn't like there are only 2 creative players I watch are, Diego Buonanotte, who's a good player from Brighton. He doesn't seem to be in favour under Van Nistelrooy. He was the one player against Brentford who broke the lines, created some opportunities. El Canouse looks okay as well. He was like their number 11. He looks all right. But they've made the assignment 25 million for Oliver Skip seems a real overpayment.
Wow, he's awful. He's really bad.
Yeah, I don't think he's
I know.
awful, but I think 25 million is.
He's bang average.
We got 35 for Nketiah, who's done nothing for Palace. So there's another one.
Yeah.
But he's bang average.
Yeah.
That's true.
But I just think I feel sorry. I mean, Southampton have just been rubbish. Like there's no sort of question on that. Ipswich have had a few moments. They've beaten Spurs. They've beaten Chelsea. But yeah, I think they're going to go down. They've been way too inconsistent. Unless Liam Delap. I mean, Liam Delap has got 10 Premier League goals as well.
Yeah, that's pretty good, isn't it? He's a dangerous.
He'd be bought by someone in the summer for 35 or 40 million pounds. I think.
Yeah.
United actually have a bad side for him because he's physical and strong.
Likewise, would take him as well. Yeah.
He's not bad. He's not a bad player for any top 6 side, either as one of 2 strikers or as the main guy.
Yeah.
And then Leicester, I just think they're just not very good either. They don't have any limited pace. They've got Vardy, who literally is like would be great in the Sunday League. Vardy's 38 and playing on the shoulder of the last man. It's very easy to defend against now because you know what you've got. You play a semi-quick centre back against him. So I think those 3 are going down because I think Wolves have got enough players to stay up and they've picked up enough form. They'll be all right. And then West Ham and United and Spurs and the other teams, Palace, are too far away anyway. They're on 30 points. I think if you get 28 points this season, you're probably safe. Again, it's similar to last year. Like the points total to stay in this division is
Very
really
low. It's weird. It used to be like 40 points, didn't it? So.
Yeah, 40 points.
But it's now like almost like 30 points to give you a fighting chance of staying up in the league. So I think we'll see the same 3 go down that came up, which is a shame. And it'll be interesting to see next year who comes up and how they do in, how they recruit, etc. With that, I'd like to see Sunderland back in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Because they've got some quite exciting players. They've got Jude Bellingham's brother Job. They've got a real young French contingent there, and they're owned by a very young French billionaire or something. So be interesting to see Sunderland come back up. But I think it's partly the reason those teams come back up as well quickly is the parachute payments, because they get the parachute payments, so that covers them for 2 years. I think that probably is the key reason they come straight back up.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on that? Do you disagree, or do you think they're all going down?
I agree.
Agree.
I think that maybe the FA should look into. I mean, there's a trend which I think is quite worrying. You don't want that massive gap, do you, between leagues? And I don't know.
No. It'd be interesting. Someone
maybe the football pyramid can be balanced out a little.
That's true.
To promote more competitive championship sides, anyway.
Yes. Who was the last team to break the pattern? Who was the last team to come up and stay up?
I was thinking of Forest, but they've been up for a long time, haven't they?
They stayed up. Yeah. It's almost a team though. It's almost a team that came up and kind of didn't, got in the top, who was competitive or finished like 14th and above.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's true. I wonder who. I can't remember.
Should we move on to the final segment of the podcast, and we'll do a little bit of Champions League and Europa League predictions? Hello, and welcome back to part 4 of the Knock It Long podcast, as we record here on February the 23rd. And to close this podcast, we are going to look at the Champions League draw, who's going to win the round of 16, and then we're going to look at the English sides in the Europa League. And we're not going to look at the Conference League, because if Chelsea, quite frankly, don't win their competition, then I don't know what's happened. Right, kicking off the ties, we're going to go I'm going to go 4 each here for Dr. Pemberton, who's getting up again to go and turn his oven on.
This is absolutely unbelievable. This is absolutely unbelievable.
Battery issue.
Battery issue. Well, fair enough. He has a battery issue for his oven. We're going to have this. Mr. Taylor, do you want to kick us off then?
Yes.
PSG versus Liverpool. What's your 2-tie prediction for that?
PSG. Okay.
Overall score.
Well, PSG look like they're in a bit of form. I think, what was it, 6-0 in the last round. Dembele has been brought back by Ramos. And they look pretty good. So I actually think, but I do think Liverpool will win this. Maybe 2-1 over the 2 legs. Also, just to quickly, player to watch, Barcola for PSG.
Yeah, he's a good. Bradley Barcola's a really good player.
Yeah.
Fair. Okay, so Paris Saint-Germain. Okay, so you're going for 2-1. Not a very high-scoring tie. Remember, PSG won 10-0 against Brest.
Yeah, true.
The last time, which Mika Richards couldn't seem to control himself laughing about.
Yeah, they need a break, those chaps.
Okay,
Why? Because of the name.
No, they're just they're sort of banter. It's a bit.
But why were they laughing?
Yeah, because of the name. Sorry, yeah, because of the name. Yeah.
Crude and immature.
Yeah.
Right, Real Madrid versus Atletico Madrid. Dr. Pemberton, what's your 2-tie prediction for that?
Atletico versus who?
Real, yeah.
Real.
Madrid derby.
I'm so out.
Winner plays Arsenal.
Madrid derby. I think that'd be a really good game. Atletico have had a decent season.
Yeah.
I think Madrid will still do it. I'm going to say 2-1 Madrid over 2 legs.
You guys are going for very low scoring ties.
Well, Simeone,
he won't want to. He's not.
Doesn't commit.
He's not like
Spanish
United. He
Pulis.
doesn't want to.
La Liga, by the way, is so tight at the moment. The top 3 are separated by 1 point.
Oh, good God.
Barcelona are top, Madrid are behind on GD goal difference, and Atletico Madrid are 1 point behind. And then Atletico Bilbao are actually only 6 points off Barcelona as well. So you've kind of almost got a four-way battle there. Okay, our next tie is Feyenoord versus Inter. What's your prediction for this, Mr. Taylor?
A lot of people are saying Inter are the favourites for the competition this year. They look very good. So I think, I think that will be I think actually Robin van Persie, I think, is due to be made the new Feyenoord manager soon. So, as well.
Yes.
So I think.
Rene Hart, he was the ex-United. Yeah.
I think 3-0, 4-0, 4-0 that one.
Over 2 ties.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are you
Inter
not
are
predicting
quite good.
anything?
I can predict the next tie. I'll do Dortmund versus Lille. I can predict that one. I think that Lille will beat Dortmund over 2 legs because Lille have been they've done pretty well. They got through in the top 8. And what is the League 1 table at the moment? League 1 table. Let's have a quick look. Lille are currently 4th in the league. Paris Saint-Germain are miles ahead, as everyone expects. Also unbeaten there as well under Enrique. Marseille are 2nd. I'm going to go for Lille will win that tie 3-2 on aggregate in that game.
Congratulations, Lille.
I'll do the next one as well, and then you guys can do the fun 3. Club Bruges versus Villa. That's a really interesting one because Club Bruges have surprised a few teams in the Champions League, and I think Villa will get through, but I think that's going to penalties, and that'll be a really tight game,
Wow.
3-3. And Villa will win at home on penalties. Dr. Pemberton, PSV versus Arsenal.
I mean,
I'm gonna say 2-0 Arsenal over 2 legs.
With your
I
score
don't
lines,
think it will be a great game, but I think they'll win.
do you think Arsenal's rugby coach will get a set piece out there?
I think there might be 1 or 2, set piece goals.
Marina!
Gabriel, Marina.
Saka could be back
I think
to the second leg.
their key
But I mean,
key
that's
players.
Arsenal's season right now, isn't it? That this,
Yeah,
these games.
Is, yeah.
it is.
They'll get their all.
It is Arsenal or bust. Okay, Bayern Munich versus Leverkusen. We've got a lot of local country games actually. But Mr. Taylor, Bayern Munich versus Leverkusen for last 16 tie. Who will win that?
But I think Munich will win that. Leverkusen have not been the team they were last season. They haven't been bad, but I do think that's a not straightforward, because I don't think Munich have looked super convincing either. But I think that's Munich. Munich, I would say 3-2 to Munich over 2 legs.
Okay, interesting. And Benfica versus Barcelona. Dr. Pemberton.
How are Benfica doing? I haven't.
I think Sporting is still top about, but
And Barcelona, they have vulnerabilities. I think there'll be goals. I'm going to go 3-2 Barcelona.
Barcelona, they have the best player in the world, Yamal.
I do like Yamal. And the
yeah,
other one-
Benfica are currently equal top with Sporting Lisbon at the moment in the league. Okay, well, we'll see that those games are played over the next 2 to 3 weeks, and
Also-
we'll predict the.
Quick quiz question from me for you two.
Yep.
Which player has won the most Champions Leagues in the history of the competition?
Modric.
Danny Carver.
You know what? You both got a point because they've won an equal number. What is that number? How many Champions League have they each won?
7.
6.
Tom wins the bet.
I can name those years for you as well for an extra point.
Go on,
2014, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2022, and 2024. There you go.
Who did they play in the
Wow.
final?
They don't call you the walking encyclopedia for nothing.
Yeah.
Who did they play in the final? 2014 was Atletico Madrid 4-1. Sergio Ramos scored in the last couple of minutes of the game. 2016 was Atletico on penalties. 2017 was Juventus 4-1. 2018 was Liverpool 3-1. That's when Ramos decked Salah and Loris Karius was supposed to be concussed. 2022 was Liverpool again, 1-0 Vinicius. And 2024 was 2-0 against Dortmund at Wembley. There you go.
Well done.
Fair play to these.
I got to commend.
Yeah, I do.
How your brain
Yeah.
keeps
Yeah.
where it keeps all this information, but it does a very good job.
Yeah.
It is highly high functioning, highly smart brain, I must agree.
Yeah, so you should sack
Right.
Dr. Pemberton. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to... right, we're going to do the 3 British sides in the Europa League, and then
God, do we have to give
then we'll wrap it
airtime to the Europa League?
The competition
How does the Europa League get airtime? I mean, you haven't even discussed the semi-final. You haven't discussed the 2 sides of the draw of the Champions League.
well, no, we'll talk about that later. Arsenal won't win it, is my prediction. It will be Real who win the Champions League,
We play.
and you're getting knocked out by Real in the quarterfinals.
No, we're not.
Well, that's where you are, delusional. Cry into your pillow.
Saliba versus Mbappe. I think Saliba wins that.
Over Fabian Martins, and Zigic give you nightmares. Still.
Well, we've won 3 FA Cups since then, so I don't care. And we're in the Champions League. You won't be back in the Champions League for the next 5 years, and you'll have 4
Rubbish.
different managers. That's not rubbish. You're deluded
Okay,
if
well,
you. You're deluded if you think you'll be back in the Champions League in the next 5 years.
and you've got a rugby team, mate. So
You're worse than Bournemouth, Newcastle.
all
Wolves.
right, I think let's right. Dr. Pemberton, Real Sociedad versus Manchester United. What's your prediction?
Oh, it's a flip of a coin for me.
No, it's not.
I think we're going to penalties.
Zubimendi coming to Arsenal.
Where's the first leg? Which is it? Sociedad away first.
Sociedad.
No, it's not. Remember, away goals are irrelevant to this now.
Yeah, I know, but yeah.
But where's the penalty shootout? Is that the penalty shootout's at Old Trafford? I'll give you the winning at penalties. I'm gonna say 1-1.
United will be slapped. They've got the best midfielder in the world, who's Zubimendi.
There we go. Right.
It's
like,
United season, and I do agree with Tom that they do play better in the Europa League. The system works better.
So they haven't got out the group stage. They haven't got out the group stage in Europe for 3 years.
Rangers versus Fenerbahce. I think Rangers will lose that because it's Mourinho, so I think Fenerbahce will win 4-2. And Barney, Mr. Taylor, what do you think on Alkmaar versus Tottenham?
3-1 Alkmaar. I don't think Ange. I think Ange is out of his depth going.
If I showed you a map, could you point to where Alkmaar was?
Yes, I can. Okay. Yes, I can. Ange is out of his depth in Europe.
I want you to name me one player from Alkmaar.
Huntelaar's son, young class Huntelaar's son. I'm pretty actually sure on that. Klaas-Jan Huntelaar's son.
Fine. Nice bias-free prediction. Okay. I mean, I
don't think you'll get through that tie. I don't.
Fine. I'm reversing mine to 3-1 PSV then. Thank you.
That's ridiculous. I mean, Ange can't play unless he's in Japan or Scotland. Ange is out of his depth massively.
Anyway, I think that's the end of the podcast for this week.
Oh, can I just? But Thomas Tuchel is about to announce his England squad. I was going to ask you if there's his first England squad. Did you want to comment on that?
I think Lewis Skelly will probably be in there. I don't think we have many left, but I'd like to see Tyrick Mitchell from Crystal Palace have a go as well, because I think he's been quite solid for 18 months and deserves an opportunity. We're not blessed at left back.
Lewis Hall as well, because he got 2 assists.
Lewis Hall's also a very good shout. Yeah, Lewis Hall's also.
What about
Ed Spence as well? Thank you.
Liam Delap, I'd like to see get a chance.
What
maybe
about
for England?
What about a right back? Who are you playing at right back?
Probably Trent would start. I think we need to move Trent in as our permanent right back now. Walker's finished now. Walker's done. Trippy's retired, so it's probably Trent, and Ben White still hasn't sorted his feud out with England, so I don't think he's only just got back to fitness as well, hasn't he? So,
yeah, that was his first game in 5 months. Ben White.
So yeah, those would be my predictions. I think Pickford will continue to be the number 1 because he's always been quite solid for England, so I don't think they'll change that either.
Front three? Yeah. Who are your guys front three?
Well, Kane will start, won't he? I think
Bellingham.
Kane.
Well, I guess Bellingham, I don't know if he'll play kind of behind.
I'd like to see Gordon.
I would like to see Gordon as well. I would say this. I agree on that. Yeah.
Foden, no shout for Foden.
He's not been good enough. He was poor today again. He was so poor today. He just can't keep the ball. His first touch is gone. Foden's. He cannot keep the ball anymore. I think next season he'll have a good season, but he's just looks so bad. I don't know.
He's tailed off this year.
Maybe it'll be a comeback for Rashford. Who knows?
Yeah, 2 assists.
He's doing all right, Rashford, but I think he needs a bit more of a run still in that side.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap up the podcast there then, because I think we've been going for a good hour and 20 minutes or so this evening. So we'll wrap it up there. Dr. Pemberton, any final notes that you'd like to share, or any final thoughts on the podcast?
Just want to wish everyone a great week. And
Thanks.
Inspirational as ever.
Yeah.
And Mr. Taylor, what about yourself? Any closing comments?
No, great to be here. I hope you've taken note of some of the behaviour of someone in this group. As the CEO, I hope you've taken note.
And that's why you should like, follow, and subscribe to our podcast. Please follow us on Spotify, but more really, we're pushing more towards YouTube these days. So please like, subscribe on YouTube, and have a wonderful final week of February. We'll see you again in March 2025.